The kingdom of Eldravorn existed in an uneasy balance. On one side of the great mountains lived humans, crafters, farmers, merchants, and mechanics who built their lives with steel and sweat. On the other side ruled the dragons, ancient beings of fire and scale, with the dragon Queen Veloria at their helm. For 3 centuries, the two races had maintained a fragile peace, speaking only through formal treaties and carefully worded negotiations. Maya was 17 when she first heard the truth about the Dragon Queen. Her father, Thomas, was the best mechanic in the human territories, known for his ability to fix anything from broken wagons to the great water mills that powered the riverside villages. Their workshop sat at the edge of the neutral zone, close enough to the mountains that sometimes, late at night, Maya could hear the distant roar of dragons practicing their flight maneuvers. It was a humid summer evening when a wounded dragon scout crash-landed near their workshop. The creature was young, barely larger than a horse, with emerald scales that flickered in the lamplight. Thomas had rushed out immediately, and Maya followed despite her father's protests. The dragon's wing was torn, caught in one of the old human hunting traps that some bitter souls still set in the neutral territories. "Please," the dragon had gasped, its voice like whined through a canyon. "I mean no harm. I was only flying reconnaissance." Thomas worked through the night, using his tools to carefully remove the trap and fashion a splint for the damaged wing. Maya brought water and helped clean the wounds with the gentleness her mother had taught her before passing away years ago. As dawn broke, the young dragon, who introduced himself as Kale, regarded them with eyes full of gratitude. "You have shown me kindness when you could have shown me death," Kale said solemnly. "My queen should know that not all humans harbor hatred." "Your queen?" Maya asked, curiosity overcoming her caution. That Kale's eyes grew distant. "Queen Veloria. She is magnificent and terrible, powerful beyond measure. But also," he paused, as if weighing whether to continue, "lonely. So very lonely. She has ruled for 800 years, and in all that time, I have never seen her smile. She was born in fire and shadow, and her birth was marked only by duty, never by joy." After Kale had recovered enough to fly home, Maya couldn't stop thinking about his words. A queen who had never known celebration, who had lived for centuries surrounded by subjects but never truly seen. It seemed impossibly sad, regardless of whether that queen had scales or skin. Days turned into weeks, and Maya found herself researching everything she could about dragons. She learned that they valued honor above all else, that they had long memories, and that their queen had taken the throne after her parents were killed in the last great war between dragons and humans, a war that had ended with both sides exhausted and neither victorious. An idea began to form in Maya's mind, fragile and possibly foolish, but persistent as a seedling pushing through stone. "Papa," she said one evening as they cleaned their tools, "when is the Dragon Queen's birth date?" Thomas looked at her with confusion and concern. "What strange question is that, child?" Kale said something that stayed with me. I want to know." Her father sighed, setting down his wrench. "The old treaties mention it. The humans used to track such things to avoid giving offense during negotiations. Let me check the records." He returned with a dust-covered ledger, running his finger down yellowed pages. "Here, the 23rd day of the harvest moon. That's in 3 days, Maya." Maya's heart began to race. "Papa, I want to bake her a cake." "You want a what?" Thomas nearly dropped the ledger. "A cake. For her birthday? No one should live 800 years without a single celebration." "Maya, that's madness. You can't just walk into dragon territory with a 'why not?'" Maya interrupted, her voice firm but not disrespectful. "The peace treaty guarantees safe passage for emissaries bearing gifts. I'll be following the law." Thomas stared at his daughter, seeing in her the same stubborn compassion that had defined her mother. He knew that look. Once Maya set her mind on something just, there was no changing it. "Then I'm coming with you," he finally said. Maya shook her head. "You need to stay here, Papa. Someone has to run the workshop. Besides, this is something I need to do myself." The next 3 days were a flurry of activity. Maya wasn't an expert baker, but her mother had taught her the basics before the fever took her. She decided on a honey cake. Dragons were said to have a preference for sweet things, and honey symbolized long life and prosperity in both human and dragon cultures. She gathered the finest ingredients she could afford: golden honey from the mountain hives, flour milled from the first wheat of the season, eggs from the happiest chickens in the village, and precious vanilla that cost her 3 months of saved allowance. She worked with the concentration her father brought to his most delicate repairs, measuring and mixing, tasting and adjusting. The cake emerged from the oven golden and fragrant, filling their small home with warmth. Maya decorated it simply, with white frosting made from cream and sugar, and wrote in careful letters, "Happy birthday, Queen Valoria." On the morning of the 23rd, Maya wrapped the cake carefully in cloth and placed it in a sturdy basket. She wore her mother's blue dress, the nicest thing she owned, and tied her dark hair back with a ribbon. Thomas stood at the door of their workshop, his face lined with worry but also pride. "If you're not back by sunset, I'm coming after you with every mechanic and farmhand in the territory," he said gruffly. "I'll be back, Papa. I promise." The journey into dragon territory took most of the morning. Maya followed the old trade road through the mountain pass, her heart hammering but her steps steady. She passed the great stone markers that delineated the border, and immediately the air felt different, thicker, charged with ancient magic. She had traveled perhaps an hour into dragon lands when the shadow fell over her. Maya looked up to see 3 massive dragons circling above, their scales gleaming like jewels in the midday sun. They descended rapidly, landing with earth-shaking force on the road ahead of her. "Human," the largest one spoke, his voice like grinding boulders. "You trespass in the realm of dragons. State your purpose or face our fire." Maya's mouth was dry, but she lifted her chin. "I am Maya, daughter of Thomas the mechanic. I come as an emissary under the Treaty of Peace, bearing a gift for Queen Valoria on the day of her birth." The dragons exchanged glances of pure bewilderment. The largest stepped closer, smoke curling from his nostrils as he sniffed at her basket. "A gift? What gift could a human bring that would interest our queen?" "A cake," Maya said simply. "A birthday cake." For a moment, there was absolute silence. Then the third dragon, a sleek creature with copper-colored scales, made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Did you say a birthday cake?" "Yes. I understand it's unusual, but unusual?" the copper dragon interrupted. "In 800 years, no one has acknowledged the queen's birth with anything more than formal reports. You bring a cake. Everyone deserves to have their birth celebrated," Maya said firmly, though her hands trembled slightly. "Even queens. Especially queens who have sacrificed everything for their people." The dragons studied her for a long moment. Finally, the largest one stepped aside. "Very well. We will escort you to the palace. But know this, human child. If this is some trick, some poison or scheme, your death will be swift but legendary in its pain." "It's just a cake," Maya assured him. "I promise." The dragon palace was beyond anything Maya had imagined. Carved into the side of the mountain itself, it was a marvel of organic architecture, all flowing lines and massive chambers lit by streams of lava channeled through crystal conduits. Dragons of every color and size filled the halls, and all of them stopped to stare at the human girl carrying a basket, flanked by 3 royal guards. They ascended through chamber after chamber until they reached the throne room. It was a vast cavern with a ceiling so high it disappeared into shadow. At the far end, on a throne of obsidian and gold, sat Queen Valoria. She was magnificent, easily 3 times the size of any dragon Maya had seen, with scales that shifted between deep purple and midnight blue, like the sky at twilight. Her eyes were molten gold, ancient and terrible, and wings that could blot out the sun were folded against her sides. A crown of black iron, simple but absolute in its authority, rested between her horns. "Your Majesty," the lead guard announced, "a human emissary seeks audience. She bears a gift." Valoria's gaze fell upon Maya, and it felt like being seen through to her very soul. The queen's voice, when she spoke, resonated through the chamber like a great bell. "A human child in my court. Speak your purpose, little one, and be swift. I have little patience for games." Maya walked forward, her legs somehow carrying her despite her fear. She stopped at a respectful distance and curtsied as well as she could while holding the basket. "Your Majesty, my name is Maya. I came to wish you a happy birthday." The throne room fell silent. Every dragon present seemed to freeze, their breathing the only sound. What did you say? Veiloria's voice was soft now, almost dangerous in its quietness. Maya swallowed hard but pressed on. I learned that today is your birthday, your majesty. And I heard that in all your long life, it has never been celebrated. That seemed wrong. So I bake you a cake. She stepped forward and carefully removed the cloth from the basket, revealing the honey cake with its simple frosting and careful message. For a long moment, the Dragon Queen simply stared. Then, with movements that seemed almost fragile for a creature so massive, Veloria descended from her throne. She approached Maya slowly, her great head lowering until her eyes were level with the girl's. "A cake," the queen whispered. "You brought me a cake." "Yes, your majesty. It's honey, because I read that dragons like sweet things, and honey represents long life. Though I suppose you've already got that covered." Maya tried to smile. Though her heart was racing, Veiloria's golden eyes began to shimmer, and to Maya's astonishment, a single tear, gleaming like liquid diamond, rolled down the dragon's scaled cheek. "In 800 years," the queen said, her voice cracking with emotion, "in 800 years of ruling, of fighting, of sacrificing everything for my people, no one has ever acknowledged my birth. No one has ever thought to celebrate that I existed, rather than what I could do for them." More tears fell now, steaming slightly as they hit the stone floor. "I was born in the midst of war, my parents killed before I was fully grown. I took the crown because I had to, not because I wanted to. And every year, on this day, I sit on that throne and remember what I lost, what I never had. Childhood, joy, someone to bake me a cake." The Dragon Queen reached out one massive claw and gently, impossibly gently, touched the cake. "You did this? You, a human child who has no reason to love dragons, who could have used your time for 1,000 other things. Everyone deserves kindness, your majesty," Maya said softly. "And everyone deserves to be celebrated, at least once in their life. Even, especially, those who spend their lives celebrating others." Veloria pulled back and, to the shock of every dragon in the chamber, began to laugh. It started as a chuckle but grew into something full and rich, echoing through the palace like thunder. "Oh, little human, you have done what armies could not. You have reminded me why we fight for peace, why your people and mine must find a way to live together." The queen rose to her full height and addressed the assembly. "Let it be known throughout the kingdom. Today is not merely the anniversary of my birth. Today is the day a human child showed more courage and compassion than many warriors show in their entire lives. Today is the day someone made me believe that peace between our peoples is not just possible, it is essential." She looked back down at Maya. "Will you share this cake with me? Will you tell me about your life, your family, your dreams?" Maya smiled, relief and joy washing over her. "I would be honored, your majesty." And so they did. The Dragon Queen and the mechanic's daughter sat together in that great throne room, sharing a simple honey cake while Maya told stories of her father's workshop, of fixing broken things and making them whole again. Veloria, in turn, spoke of her own hopes for the future, of a world where humans and dragons work together rather than merely coexisting. As the sun set that evening, Maya prepared to leave. Veloria walked her to the border personally, something no queen had done in living memory. "You have given me a gift beyond measure, Maya. Not just a cake, though it was delicious. You gave me hope. You reminded me that I am not just a queen, not just a weapon or a shield. I am a person, deserving of the simple joys that every person should have. Will you be okay, your majesty?" Maya asked. Veloria smiled, actually smiled. "I will." "And Maya? Thank you. Thank you for seeing me, not just my crown." When Maya returned home, her father swept her into a crushing hug. "You're back. You're alive. What happened?" "I gave the queen a cake, Papa," Maya said simply. "And we became friends." That night, as Maya lay in bed, she heard the sound of wings outside her window. She rushed to look and saw a magnificent sight. Queen Veloria herself, hovering in the moonlight. "I forgot to give you your gift in return," the queen called softly. In dragon culture, when someone celebrates your birth, you must honor them as well. From her claws, she dropped a small chest. Maya opened it to find a dragon scale, one of Veiloria's own, which shimmered with protective magic. "Keep this," the queen said. It marks you as a friend of dragons. And more than that, it marks you as proof that kindness is the strongest magic of all. As the dragon queen flew away, her silhouette against the moon, Maya smiled. She had given a cake to the most powerful being in the realm, and in return, she had received something far more valuable, the knowledge that even the smallest act of compassion could change the world. And in her mountain palace, Queen Valoria looked at the dried flowers that Maya had placed on the cake as decoration, now pressed and preserved by her magic. For the first time in 800 years, she didn't feel lonely. She felt celebrated. She felt seen. She felt loved.